Greetings and welcome. I'm Psychic Medium Roberto, and I truly hope you are doing well today. I am guided by Spirit, and thank you for watching. So I'm recording this episode July the 11th, early bells. All cases are treated as alleged until proven in a court of law. So I'm going to be looking at the curious case of Boeing. Of course, we know that two astronauts, Sunni and Butch, traveled up to the ISS space station. There were already issues going up, and when they were due to return, they were unable to return for a number of reasons. And of course, Boeing aren't telling us everything, because that just wouldn't be Boeing, right? So I thought as an exercise, and the reason for that snarky comment is the day they were meant to return, June 14. Here's a hidden issue. Okay, hidden. And this speaks about propulsion, gases, energy, bursts of energy, but we'll get there. But I just thought, let's have a look at what numerology can reveal and any messaging around that. Regarding the build-up to the launch, and then we know there were issues already, and then the time spent there, and then the day that they were meant to return. Now, I've also included at the bottom here, I'll zoom in there when we get there, but this is the press conference sequence. This will also give us an indication as to are there any similarities in the build-up to the launch and while they're stuck on the station, and see if we pick up any similarities. So let's start by looking at the pinging. Look at those hands. All right, so as much as I watched so just for clarity's sake, I did watch their part of the interview. And as much as two highly skilled astronauts are perfect in their jobs, they are also only human, but they're also not PR machines. However, it felt like they were being fed narrative when he's particularly Butch, and so she's also stressed out. She's stressed out, according to what I believe, watching this interview. But him, Butch, Barry in particular, it was like he was forcing out the narrative, but he knows full well, clenched hands, that things aren't exactly kosher. So for the exercise, I've included Boeing. Now, they've just recently been back in Congress. We've just had another wheel, or what do you call it? I know there's a particular word for it. But anyway, let's just see. The wheels came off again on one of the jets, right? In the past 2 days. Not funny, but the doors are coming off. We've got a space vessel stuck in space. It's like, the vehicle manufacturer has issues, but you still buy the vehicle. Because there's a promise by Boeing that it's safe to return. Nonsense. And let me tell you while we're here, now, we'll know in our crime show. So, fortunately, at this moment in time, there's no bad ending. So, we're going to take a engineering, mechanical, aeronautical kind of look at this. But 72 hours gives us information as well from the launch, when they actually went up. Now, if this was meant to be the launch day, I beg your pardon, the return, right? I'm just going to make it orange anyway because it was detrimental day, yeah. So that would have been the day of the launch. And if we had to include, I realized just as I was about to start recording, but I'm going to do it here anyway. If we had to go forward the 3 days to get to see the additional information, we're going to see something quite recognizable and familiar on this chart. So +3 here. So there's the issue, 14.5 +3 here. So, what do we have here? 31.4. That's not a nice number. Maybe things wouldn't have gone to plan had they launched back, beg your pardon, or returned. So the reflection day also shows us when they were meant to return. That again we have this 23.5 with the 5 outcome issues. But the issues, I believe, yes, we know what the general issues are, but there's other issues as well. And the reason why I say that is because we have this anomalous of 8s. So what I mean by this is when you have too many of the same numbers on one day, okay, it's the same as the old adage, too much of a good thing spoils the situation or whatever, right? So we have too many 8s here, and 8 speak specifically about engineering, mechanics, aeronautics. And this is the focus of this year, with us being in the 8th year. So the reflection is telling us, and we'll look deeper into these others here, but I'm bringing to your attention, you see these outer kilter 8s here, right? Keep that in mind, because it's a common theme. Look here, July 10th, when the press conference took place, 17.8. And we have these too many 8s once again. It reflects directly on the summary day of when they would have launched. But we'll go deeper, This is what draws my attention to do these kind of shows, right? Because we're picking up issues. So let's see and discover what is going on here, because this gentleman, I keep looking at those clenched hands of his again. Yes, we can argue while he's not talking, he can put his hands in his pockets, or he can hold the sides, or he can do whatever. She doesn't, so anyway. Let's go lead up to the launch. Now, we all know that there were reports of issues already, hydraulics, or there was gas coming out, whatever the gas, helium, whatever it is, leakage. Now I will also just say, and the gentleman Barry was saying, that it's a test flight. I don't know, test flight to space is a little bit scary, that concept, right? All right, so let's have a look here. And of course, that's the narrative you're pushing, right? So on the launch day, we have a 6, 5, and 8. So we've already got a 5 in play here. Now, 5 brings around issues. It's the nature of a 5. But it alerts the observer, in our case, we are watching and we see a 5. Okay, guys, there's a problem. There's a potential issue What haven't we looked at? Or let's run the tests again. However these guys operated, there's 10 processes before one step in space, right? But the day of the launch begins with a problem. There's a 5. And the outcome is 11-2. So on this launch day, we also have a 50-50 situation. You're either going to connect, in other words, a nice outcome 2, or you're going to go your separate ways. So it's either the ship is either going to work or it's not going to work. We know on the previous, I'm very fascinated by space, obviously, or the concept of flying into space, right? So if you look at all those, the challenges, what was the actual overall name for it? Of that in the 80s, the Columbias and those, but even on one of those vessels or previous space vessel, they knew there was issues. There was there were external plates falling off the vessel. There were leakages, and when one of those spaceships went up, it blew up. You can say to me as a engineer, let's just say engineer, everything's good, don't worry, we see a little issue, but it's not going to affect the flight. Come on. You can tell me we go off properly and we're flying, and during the flight there's an issue, but don't worry, it shouldn't affect us. That is better than we haven't even left yet and you're telling me there's a problem, right? But we are test pilots. So now that we're talking about space and travel, right? And whenever when I did my alien episodes, and because there's propulsion involved, although we don't see it or whatever it is, however, it does move with energy, right? So in your grid, you'll pick up big numbers like 10, 1, 10, 20, 30, somewhere along here. But you'll always pick up these big numbers, which is the burst of energy that is required, right? So in this case, because we're only human and our technology is only of a certain standard at the moment, I guess we can say 10-1 gets us to space, right? A 10 burst. But there's also issues here. This 9 sitting here during a launch. In my opinion, I know nothing happened this time, but these guys were in dodgy territory, in my opinion. This 10-1 keeps popping up, and we're doing a different kind of genre of numerology. We're looking at it from an engineering perspective, propulsion, technical. But there were reports of don't quote me on it, but there were 2 or 3 of the boosters that weren't working on the way up and so on, right? Or when they were approaching the ISS, some of the jets weren't working. So this is staring at me like very big. So I still believe we'll have a look properly, but this, we know this was the issue. But it's like, for me, it's staring me in the face. And when you do these numbers, there's numbers here that stand out. And this 10-1 has been bugging me since I looked at this. So maybe that's where the issue is, because this 22 also speaks about that. It's even bigger boosters, right? And when they didn't launch because there's an issue 14.5 problems, like the day of the launch, 5, you see there. 20, the hidden issue is this propulsion system. I'm no scientist, but it deals with energy, big bursts. I don't know, man. I just feel very nervous if I was an astronaut on this journey. So 10-1. So I believe they would have been aware of the issue, but it would have been by June 4th, they would have definitely known there was a propulsion issue, right? Or there was issues with the rockets, however you want to put it. We've got these massive 8s here as well. It's too many 8s. Now, the issue with this is when there's too many 8s, it brings those problems. Now, we don't want to do a blanket statement and say, well, Boeing aeroplanes are problematic, therefore the Starliner's problems, right? But when you have a 16-7 in play, speaks about recurring issues, but not only recurring, it's like continuously, it keeps reoccurring issues. And I just realized something now. Have a look here. It hit me like a train. Look there. Let's look along this line, ladies and gentlemen. We have an issue here. So let's say we got 16-7 in play, right? Look at the reflection here, 22, which would be the issue later. See here. There was already an issue. So we're not trying to rewrite history here, right? We're reflecting. Let's see what numerology shows us. The first thing, because a lot of you have been asking, and it's good that we're doing these kind of shows as well, that we're not dealing just with crime, but we can look at, when you draw up a chart like this, all you can start doing is playing bingo. Where do matches happen? So you always have the event day. 72 hours is your reflection, your summary. Of course, these days here also provide information as a summary. Gives you in-depth, let's say in-depth information as to what was happening on this day. Of course, each day can be the day, but when you look back, this information feeds this. So the launch and then arrival situation. So the arrival situation, there was a problem, right? Now look here. 6 plus 6. See how it works when there's issues and how it presents itself. So we've got a 6v6 situation here. We'll talk to the issue they had trying to dock or they had to switch to manual, right? Manual override. They are trained for it, so it happens. Interesting. So we have that issue here, the 666. And you see the outcome here. This is not a joke. And this is the beautiful, powerful thing about numerology. Now, of course, I incorporate intuitive elements as well, right? So look at that. Boom. That is scary. So what does this tell us? I mean, this is going to sound obvious, right? The day they arrived, now there was issues leading up, but the day they arrived, another issue happened. But we can see from a numerology point of view, 7 days, whatever it is, 2, 5, 6, 7. On the 8th day, when they want to launch, the problems they were having are still there. You see the 11-2 on the launch day here? Check here. 11-2. That's a 50-50 situation. However, this also tells us now something, right? This actually says the problems are still the same, but it's actually gotten worse. Because the issue, now if you want to take it on a literal level, we're just looking at numbers. If we take it on a literal level, 10-1 now has become a 21, a 22, beg your pardon. So it's got bigger. And when they arrived, they know it was bigger. So the little problem they had leaving, this is the issue. They knew they had an issue. The small problem they had is now, when they arrived, is bigger problem. So when they want to take off, which is 14-5, Elon, don't take off on this day. Do you know what I mean? Because we have still the same problem. So it hadn't been resolved. And this now 11-2 comes into play because they definitely didn't try to come back. Right? This is risky business here, in my opinion. We're not trying a train from one town to another, even an aeroplane, to test airplane. I mean, these guys, I love pilots. Always wanted to be a pilot type thing. I love it. So, what do we have here? Yes, it's a test flight. But are you going to take a chance in a space vessel when there's an issue? So we'll keep monitoring. But so that's the issue, right? So let's have a look the day they launch, and we go to the reflection day here. What was going on? Okay, now this is basics, right? You can just do this, highlighting, like I did with the Gabby Petito case, what are the emotional markers first? So yeah, we're looking for what are the mechanical or numbers that look odd. We got too many 8s. We got a 14-5, which is reflected on the day here. Or on this day, I beg your pardon. Same issue. Now, 22-4, when we look at from let's say a mechanical engineering, so 4 is like piloting number. You need a 4 to pilot because it speaks about, I'm saying if you're a pilot, right? 4 brings about the facts and figures. However, the computer systems and integrated systems work. Let's say the functioning of the vessel was also 4. And 13-4 is not a happy number to have. I wonder if it will work or not. So this is why I say that yes, they test pilots, and how else are you going to test the ship, right? But I can tell you now, their lives were at risk here. Like at risk. You can have all your data. I'm not a scientist, but you know, you watch these kind of movies where one thing happens, then another thing happens, then another thing happens. And then before you know it, you have all these other sync 8s, threat of death. That wasn't a joke, them launching. So Now, of course, when this situation comes round, because those are quite serious numbers there, so when the decision is made not to launch, it creates an issue, right? So, and we see this huge burst of energy, which is not the ship, because now we've got 2-8 here. People are communicating about an engineering issue and talking to people in ISS, talking to people in NASA, talking to people at Boeing. This is all big chatter here going on. And here sits the issue again. So now June 15, not particularly the day specifically, but the numbers within that day starts talking about what happened here. And here sits the issue again, the 22. So the hidden issue when they wanted to launch, which they knew about, but maybe not everyone knew about, now is revealed, the real issue. But there's still some kind of hiding of information behind closed doors here, of course, right? $12.3 Boeing. So again, interestingly, you'll note when they try to dock, we had that 6 here, right? They haven't fixed the problem, because it revealed itself here again. Have a look here. There's a 6 plus a 6. And this is actually telling me what is causing this problem. Now, when you have a 5 here, this tells me there's a human error issue here. There's a human error issue, I believe, here. I mean, we can go deeper. 13.4 Boeing. Beg your pardon, not Boeing. Cut that out. Oh, it is Boeing. 13.4 Boeing, sorry. I just wanted to make sure. 13.4 Boeing. We know the problem sits with Boeing, but the numerology here is verifying that. See the 22.4 here? Just interesting to note, 22.4 on Boeing. It's relevant that so let's explain here. Where Boeing has the 22.4, 13.4s in the day, so that's its operational mandate, right? What people see and know Boeing in the day. Now, why would it be relevant as the outcome? So the outcome is, the issue belongs to Boeing. And because the outcome, and this is a very significant position here in the day for any profile. So when you get a match like that, it's bingo time. Same here, 12.3. That's a significant match. Interesting to note, 14.5 in the middle. It does speak about Boeing's issue, right? But it affects and impacts NASA. I mean, Boeing must be racking up a nice bill while these astronauts stay a month versus a week in space, right? Imagine going on holiday for a month to Tahiti or some tropical place. Tahiti just comes from a movie. But now you're going to spend an extra month in space. Okay, Boeing's got the bucks. It's not a joke, ladies and gentlemen, but it's costing Boeing a fortune. A fortune. 10, look at all these 10 ones here. A fortune. A fortune. So the day of the press conference, which was yesterday my time, right? I watched it last night, and then I thought, oh, let me start actually prepping a board here and see what is going on. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We've got that 10-1 in play here again. Beg your pardon, it should be a 10-1. 10-1 problem. So we still have propulsion issues, energy burst issues, whatever that translates to in the space world. We got out of sorts 8s, too many 8s. Too many 8s. Serial nature. How do we know Boeing, ladies and gentlemen? You know, I don't want to get too philosophical, but to change the culture of a conglomerate. It's like, can we put pause on Boeing for 20 years or 30 years so we change the culture? So common factor in all these, beg your pardon, I should have made these red. Common factor here, we're seeing all these out of 8s on significant dates on the timeline. Yes, they got there live, but it's an engineering. We won't say it's catastrophic, but it's certainly serious and problematic. The summary day they're meant to return, what's the issue? Oh, we got all these 8s out of problem, engineering. The reflection day of when they took off, all the engineering issues. And we know they had docking issues, 6. The day they try to leave, or reflection the next day, 6, still the same issues, standoffs. The day the first serious press conference comes out, all these 8s out of kilter. This is not going to be a prediction show. I support these pilots and astronauts, but I thought let's just have a look and see what the numbers reveal about what is going on here. I don't believe, of course there will be some information that is kept from the public because it is a private business, etc. And on the other hand, there's public interest because they get paid by taxpayers' money, right? But would they ever tell us the full story one day? But anyway, we hope and pray that these Sunita and Barry come back safely, and I'm sure they will. Rumor has it, or it's common knowledge, that Elon is on standby. I mean, that must be quite a daunting task, right? All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what your thoughts are. I thought let's just have a nice, interesting look at the numbers. Please let me know what your thoughts are, comments are. I do love engaging with them. Stay safe, stay alert. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.